Do you want to be the best healer on your server? Well, you can be, as long as you're not on Orifina. What's up, guys? Steven with Level Up MMO here to give you guys my healer build that has helped me to push M10s, do PvP, and more with ease. In this video, I'll be showcasing all aspects of my build. It will have my Lifestaff as well as the Void Gauntlet, in addition to all the perks that I have on my gear, why I have them, and things that I don't have yet, but I certainly want. So we're going to start things off by taking a look at the gear that I use. You'll see right off the bat that this is probably a little bit different. I don't have an entire set of corruption because I went ahead and ran the Sagacious helmet just because I really like all of the abilities on it. Elemental Aversion. It has my Fortifying Sacred Ground, which I don't have another piece with, which is why I run this, because that Fortifying Sacred Ground is so good. And if I don't have another piece that can have it on there, that is what I will run right now. I will be foregoing that ward just to be able to have that. From there, we move to the Fireproof Profane Coat of the Cleric. It's nothing too special. It's really just that it had the corruption ward that I need for this set in particular. Again, you're going to have to build a different set depending on which mutator you are doing, because this is a PvE focused gear set. And so for me, I was running corruption. I was running the new Ennead. This is what I have on at the time. And so I have the ward, and then vigor, which of course is always something that's not bad to have on it. And then the focus and the con, given, well, my build. Next up, we'll go in, and again, it's corrupted ward, but this one has a Lifestaff perk. So this is why I went with this. It is a mending protection, but it's going to increase the healing power by 24% for 3 seconds of overprotection heals an ally with less than 50% health. So that's where somebody drops below 50, gives you that little bit, you know, a quarter more basically to your healing, which is going to help get that person back up to where they need to be. And then moving down, nullifying oblivion. So this is, of course, when you use that ability, it's going to remove limited duration buffs from enemies within its radius. It is also going to charge faster. So also very helpful, has that corruption ward, just goes with this ability usage all around. And then we'll move down to the boots. So that is going to be refreshing evasion, corrupted ward, and invigorated on Empress Zhao's embroidered shoes. These are great legendary boots for a corruption set. It's not bad at all. Can bring some abilities back faster, helps with the invigorated to get rid of the weakened, disease, exhaust, and rend a little bit faster. And then we will move on down to the jewelry. So this is an area that I could probably use some improvement on, and that is going to be Isabella's amulet. Not bad. The empower that I apply lasts longer, which is great, you know, if I can get that on some people. The health, love that, of course. Having almost 10% more HP is massive. And then mana recovery, that's not bad at all. Of course, as somebody who typically can run out of mana, especially if it's a week where the mobs do have, oh, if you hit them, you're gonna, you know, lose some mana from that. So not bad, but could be better. This ring is something that I actually got out of a gypsum cast, and I'm super happy with because it has brilliant. I'll take the extra mana, like I said. It's gonna be con, which is useful with basically anything, and then hardy and sacred. You're going to want sacred. If you do not have sacred on your ring as a healer, you need a new ring. So those are all 3 good enough perks, and I definitely can't complain. Next up, this is something that I do want to replace. Even though it has a refreshing evasion, which is great for getting those abilities back faster. Purifying toast isn't bad. There are better perks to have on this in terms of like duplicating toast and things like that. So it could be better, but this one does the job for now. Now we'll move up to the Lifestaff. So I'm still rocking the Will of the Ancients, and I'm not mad at it. This staff has gotten me through just about every dungeon up to an M10. I'm currently at an M7 in the Ennead. That last boss fight, you know, it's tough to get out of there as it gets harder without people going down. And so this staff has definitely done the job. There is a new one that has released called Staff of the Throne that I'm thinking I might actually make the swap to. So basically, with any Lifestaff, you want Blessed. That is a given. You have to have Blessed on it. Will of the Ancients you get from Lazarus. I would recommend getting this because it's pretty easy to get. The downside is, of course, that it doesn't have any sort of weapon perk on it. Well, that is where the Staff of the Thrones comes in. And this comes from Heru, which is one of those final bosses in the Ennead. And basically, it's going to have the focus you need. Blessed is going to be on it. It still has refreshing move, which is massive for being able to get back your sacred grounds, your beacons, your orb of protection, whatever you're running. Getting them back faster by simply doing light and heavy attacks is going to be very important, because you want to keep those heals up and be able to stack some of them or place them in different locations. But instead of having refreshing in the normal sense, the 2.9% there, it's actually going to have Keen Beacon. So if you're running Beacon, when it heals a player, they will gain an almost 10% crit chance, which In a top tier mutator, you need to get through things fast. You want to be able to burn things down. Giving your teammates the ability to crit things 10% more often is going to be huge. So I'm certainly debating that. I think I'm willing to forego the refreshing being 2.9% to be able to grab that. Moving on over to the Void Gauntlet. This isn't anything special. Honestly, it's just what I picked up and figured it was good enough. It has life stealing, which honestly, kind of a waste of a perk, if I'm going to be honest, because I don't ever use it, right? It's just something that I pull out. I use the abilities, I put it away. I don't really attack with it. So even then, the enchanted, not great. If this was a DPS build, this would be solid. This is a solid DPS Void Gauntlet because you have enchanted for the extra damage. You have the life stealing to gain that HP back. And of course, the rally gem in there to help with damage or healing, but it's definitely not top tier. You will want to grab something else for healing. And of course, you want blessed on it. As we're touching on the food that you'll want, that is going to be blackened lava barb with corn succotash if you're going for straight up focus with your attributes. But then of course, you can also go ahead and split that depending on how you set up your attributes and grab the food for slow roasted bear flank with root vegetables for 24 focus and 16 con. Now we'll move over to the Lifestaff build. So with this one, I go all AoE. I do not do the divine embrace, although I know it's popular. Some people say to use it if you have somebody ranged in your party. Not a bad idea. I agree that that can be the way that you can get that range person up without having to move one of your AoEs over to them. But I just basically tell my groups, you either get in a healing circle or you risk the chance of dying. And that is up to the DPS to be aware of those things. It takes a little bit of pressure off of the tank and the healer and actually makes the DPS responsible for their positioning. They have to be aware of where they're at. They can't just run around aimlessly. And I think that's fair because the DPS get off easy as it is. So Sacred Ground, Aura of Protection, and Beacon. They will all end up being able to stack on somebody. If the group is all melee, it makes it super easy. You put them all down and you can just keep everybody alive with ease. That's why I love this build. I think it's great. One thing you'll notice is that I don't have Bending Light. Instead, I just run Intensify. I haven't seen that as a problem. When I was doing wars before with this build and everybody told me I was crazy, I was out healing those people by a million. I was top healing wars. It was like 6 wars in a row with this build I have right here. So I don't see any reason to change it. Maybe at some point I will try adding Bending Light in here, but then I'll have to give something up and I'm not sure what I want to do on that front. So for now, we're going to roll with this. Moving over to the Void Gauntlet, it is going to be a split between Annihilation and Decay. We're going to, of course, be going with the Oblivion because, well, that's the best ability in the entire kit. So you're going to be able to summon a little circle. Everybody in there is going to be taking some damage while empowering yourself as well as your allies, which is going to help them deal more damage. So you're dealing damage, they're dealing more damage, and it just helps you to really burn down some of the opposition. It's a great ability. Then we will go with Orb of Decay, which you can either use to deal damage, or if you allow it to reach max range and bounce back, it turns into a healing orb, which, you know, 20% weapon damage per second for 5 seconds means that they're going to be getting ticked for a couple hundred per second for 5 seconds. It's going to really help with that extra healing. And of course, then Essence Rupture, another one that is going to be used for the healing aspect. You're going to Fire Projectile, which is going to give Essence Rupture for 10 seconds, healing anyone that hits that target for 20% of that damage. So now let's take a look at the attribute points. So with this build in particular, I want that survivability. So I run 200 con. There are people out there who do 150. There are people who go even lower. The 150, you risk getting one shot by a lot more things. And so typically I run that 200 con, and then I run a 40 focus food, which pushes my focus up to 310. That allows me to do enough healing, be able to move around. My damage gets a little bit better, but I just find the survivability is good and the output is good with this build. I put nothing into the intel because I'm just not using the Void Gauntlet in that way, and the healing of the Void Gauntlet scales off of focus, so that's what I want. And there you have it. That is my healer build. It is the build that I have used, the gear that I've used, so on and so forth, to get to the very depths of the game successfully. If you have any questions, you can either leave them in the comments below. If you don't have a question, throw an emoji or a hello down there or something. It helps with the algorithm. Or you can come on my stream at twitch.tv/heartbreaker_TV to ask me any questions you have, or if you want me to show you something, I can do that. If this video was helpful, definitely give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more New World content, and good luck in your adventures.